So today I'm going to show you some hints and tips and some new features that we've found that you're possibly not aware of. The first one is in Sales and Receivable Setup, and it's related to the posting description. I'm sure that you're all fully aware that when the transactions go through to the general ledger, that it just takes the document number or the GL description. And we've done many a modification over the years to take the line description across to the GL entry so you can see whose telephone bill it is for. So now there is a setting in Sales and Receivable Setup that does this for you. So copy line description to the GL entry. It's an on-off switch. Where we see this then obviously is in the transactions. So if I go to posted sales invoice, and if I look at 103036, I look at this one here and show this transaction, you can see that I've put on this line description and it's against GL code 6610. So the first point is this is against GL codes only. If I go now to my chart of accounts and navigate to 6610, and if we go and drill down on the change here, you can see that instead of it just bringing through the description of the account 6610, it's brought through the line description. So that's a really nice feature just by turning on that functionality. One of the other things that you'll notice is that we've got a bookmark here. So this little tag here, this one's obviously turned on and is flagged as a bookmark, which brings it onto my home page here. Which is why I've bookmarked a few things that I'm using today. So really nice to have those shortcuts on your home page. One of the other things that we've missed in the Role Center is the ability to zoom in on the lines or the header. So if I'm sitting on a document here, we used to do Control F8 in the old days, or Tools and Zoom, and it's now Control Alt and F1 opens up a pane on the right hand side, and as you can see, this is looking at the sales header, is looking at the table fields. If I had any extensions applicable here, it would look at those, and here are all of the fields that are on my sales header, whether they're visible or not. So you can still get now to Tool Zoom by going Control Alt and F1 in the web client. So I'm sure you'll all be thrilled with that. One of the other things that we like as a feature is the freeze pane. So here I am on a document, and you know that we've got so many columns going on over here on the right hand side, and I'm scrolling backwards and forwards. So basically, for us to be able to hold the name and the description, for example, I can actually put on a freeze pane. So if I use the personalize button, and it opens up the designer tab, you'll see that when I hover here, that when I click on the little arrow, I've got set freeze pane. So I can literally flag my freeze pane here, so you now see where it's actually sat. So when I come out, and let's refresh the screen and come back in again, that basically now has set my freeze pane. So if I start scrolling across, let's tab into a column, let's scroll across here, and you'll see that my freeze pane is locked. So I can still see my part number and my description, even though I'm right the way across on the other side of the column. So really nice and easy to set the freeze pane. One of the other things that I wanted to show you has been in this product for a long time under the item card, and it's the ability to set extended text against an item. So against this particular item, the bicycle, I have defined some extended text. So there's a flag here that allows that to be automatically generated onto the documents. So the automatic extended text box is turned on, and then we set the extended text here against the item. So you can have multiple extended text because this is also how it handles the language code. So if I wanted this translated into French, I would have the French language code, and then I would do the translation for me. So basically I've given it a description and I've put in my additional text going on here. There is a starting and an ending date, so it could be that it's related to a special offer for this item or not. And then we have the documents that we want this extended text to appear on automatically. So I've got it on the sales quote, the sales order and the sales invoice, but not on the blanket order and not on the returns order, and likewise on this side as well. And therefore I've got exactly the same questions against the purchases documents and also the service documents. So it might be that you've got unpacking or you've got handling requirements that you want to print on the documents. So I've created that as an automatic extended text so that when I go now and create a new sales order for my bicycle, so if I select new here and let's choose a customer, and we'll use the good old Canon group, and I come down onto the lines here, and if I choose my item, the bicycle, and as soon as I select that, it's automatically inserted that extended text. Now I've set another one up for the front wheel, but I haven't done the automatic extended text because it may well be that it's related to something else, and we want to just do it on manually. So basically, I can go to line and then functions and insert extended text, and that will drop it in as a manual intervention. So I could have that extended text set up and then choose when I want to use it or not. So this one is automatic and puts it on the documents that you have specified, and this one you go and select it to be updated as you require it. Okay, so a couple of other things, that the ability to duplicate tabs. So if let's go into a customer card here, and what I can do is I can right click here and do duplicate tab. So now I've got this opened in another tab. This is particularly useful if you're trying to do things on something like an item card and you still want the filter pane. Obviously, once you drill into the details underneath here, you can expand these screens and open it in a separate window, but you lose all of it just literally opens this customer card, so you lose all of the filtering and all of those sorts of things. So by using the duplicate tab, you've got literally a duplicate of whatever you've got running on that screen. So that's quite a nice hint and tip that we've got there. The other one to be able to focus a bit more detail on the order is when you're actually in an order, you have this button here which pops out just the lines. Now we've got the totals on this page. It's you've obviously got less in your little fast tab, and so by using the pop out button, then basically it gives you focus purely on the lines of that particular order, and then literally just unclick it to go back. I think this is a new feature. Not sure when it came out, but on the journal, we've actually got some extra columns on here that give us a fact box to show additional errors. So we know the copy the VAT and the allow VAT differences and suggest balancing accounts have been there for years, but this background error checking and the copy the posted lines to a journal, I've ticked this one up. This one I'm going to show you, and I'll talk you through that one. So when I go into my batch here, in my my fact box here on the right hand side, you can see now that I've got an error. So I've obviously done a deliberate error. So I've got a GL line here, which is for £100 debit, and then I've got a balancing line here for £100 credit, and then I've done a single line here for £50. So my journal is out of balance by £50 overall, same document number, same date, but when I open my facts box, it's actually telling me here. So it's telling me that I've got 3 lines, I've got one particular issue, and that is that the current line is out of balance with this document number, out of balance by £50. And obviously there's a number of ways that I could fix that error. The copy posted lines to journals, I'm a bit confused by this one because we have the ability to reverse out a journal, but that's in essence what this does. So you can hover on a line, select to take those posted lines, and it will create that back in another journal for you, which is exactly what the reverse the journal does, and it handles the document numbers and everything. So I think it's possibly allowing certain templates to do that rather than not. Okay, so the other thing is recurring documents. So I'm using a purchase invoice here, and recurring lines, standard templates has been in the system for a while. They've called it recurring lines now rather than not. So against this works exactly the same for sales and purchases. So against a customer or a vendor, and again this works on orders or invoices. I'm just using it as a good example here, because we use this internally also. So against my expenses, I'm going to have mileage lines, I'm going to have trains, I'm going to have postage and phone and whatever. So in the background, I've set up recurring lines, and then they come through automatically on the invoices. So if I go to purchase recurring purchase lines, here we go. So basically you can define them. So what I've done is I set up my expenses one, and I've defined the GL codes that I want to appear. I've put a quantity in here, but that's not necessary. And obviously you can put dimensions in here. So because this is Sam's Expensive, I've used the department code, obviously, that they can go into, but as you can see, the other dimensions are there. Obviously, if you were doing mileage, if it was a standard trip to the office and back, then obviously you could default the mileage in, etc. So basically, I'm defining the lines that I want to appear in my template. So now I'm going to select a new purchase invoice, and let's go plus new, and I'm going to choose the vendor. So it's EXP. So there's Sam's Expenses. Obviously fill in all the top of the details in the normal way. And then as soon as I've gone into it, you can see that it's brought those lines on. I literally haven't had to do anything. So now as Sam, I can go in, I can change my mileage and say I've done 500 miles, and obviously put in the rest of the details at 45p a mile, not 45 pounds, 45p. And I carry on from there. So very easy to start to build the expenses by giving them the GL codes. It saves them having to go and look it up, etc., etc. You can also shortcut straight to documents. So for example, if I'm an order processing clerk and I'm always going to be doing sales order processing, what I've done is I've done a shortcut. So basically this literally opens up Business Central and takes me straight to a new sales order. So this I can obviously take it to a list, or I can take it to a new sales order. So from that point of view, when I'm in the place that I want, I can literally copy and paste that and add it to my shortcuts, my favorites, and then it will take me straight to that screen. So I don't have to go through the role center, go and select it, etc., etc., etc. So if you've got people that are only doing one or two functions, then it's a really nice way for them to be able to get to what they're doing very quickly and very easily. So I think that's all from me for now. Hopefully you found some bits there that might be useful. Some of those are new features in Business Central. Some of those will exist in Dynamics NAV, regardless of release. So some bits and bobs there hopefully for everybody.